Hey YouTube, I'm Ali, welcome to the channel. How well do you know your gaming group? Do you and your family think alike? Well, in today's review of Codenames, we're going to put that to the test. Stay tuned and find out how. Codenames is a card-based word game set in the world of espionage and spies. Out there in the big wide world are a bunch of spies that have not realised that they need to report back. The only way they can be contacted is if the correct codename is given to them. Now, that is all represented in a board made up of 25 cards, 5 by 5. Each card has a codename printed on it. There are 200 cards in this game, and you randomly create the board each time you play, so there's tons of variance. The game splits us up into two teams, a red team and a blue team, and each team will have a spy master. Now the spy masters are given a little cheat or a key card which deciphers the board and tells them exactly where the blue players or the blue spies are hidden and where the red spies are hidden. The spy master's job then is to give a single word clue each round plus a number out to the rest of his team. The team will take that clue and apply it to the words they see on the board. The number indicates how many cards or how many code names that clue could relate to. Using that and that alone, the team has to correctly identify the right colour spies on the board. And they do that by simply touching. If they touch the right spot, hooray, the right colour token is placed on there and that spy can come home and have tea and biscuits, or whatever it is that spies do. If they touch a card that happens to be an innocent bystander, their turn ends, no big deal. If they touch one that belongs to the opponent, their turn still ends, but unfortunately the opponent's spy can now go home for tea and biscuits. But the worst thing they can do is touch the code name that triggers the assassin who kills everybody. This is a great family game, and for once I'm going to agree with the box with its age recommendation of 10 years old. So go with 10 years old. Any younger than that, and I think there's a junior version of this game that maybe you could try. But for this game, family game, 10 years old, perfect. Now, number of players, it says 2 to 8 plus. We've never played it with 2, but we have definitely played it with more than 8 people. The only thing I would state here is that you want to make sure, because it's team-based, you want to have equal numbers of players on each side. And as I said before, we play so that each person has a go at being the spy master, and that dictates the duration, which is the next thing I'm going to talk about. Now the box says 15 minutes. In reality, because it's based on the number of players, I would allow about 5 minutes per player. So add up the number of players you got, times it by 5, and that's the number of minutes you're going to play. For 4 people playing, or for 6 people, let's say, 6 people playing, that means it's going to take about half an hour. For type of game, I'm going to call this a board game, even though it's played with cards. The cards are really only there to make up the board, and that does mean it's not great for travel. Don't take this on a train, the cards are going to go everywhere, your board's going to go everywhere, so probably best to play in a home or a pub or a cafe or wherever, just somewhere not going to move around a bit. Anyway, I digress. When it comes to complexity, I think the rules were very simple to understand. It took us less than 2 minutes to read and about that to explain to someone else, so I'm going to go with average for complexity. In terms of depth of game, this is a very simple game. Once you've understood the rules, there's not much to do really. You just need to say a word and relate it to other words. So quite simple for that. So light is what I'm going to call that. In terms of interactions, this is a indirect conflict based game, because although you are competing directly against another team, within your team you're cooperating. So you could argue that it's a mix of all three, but go with it, just call it indirect conflict. And then finally, the player type. Well, this is a team game, not a single person game. Although there is a single person variant, really this is a team game. Again, go with that. For mechanics, I just have two this time. First is communication. This game is all about communication. What you say is very, very important in this game. The second mechanic that I'm going to call out is push your luck. As a spy master, do you go for a simple single word each time with the chance that the opponent might go for something a bit more daring? Or do you just say damn it all and go for an obscure word that could relate to a greater variety of cards, but potentially could grab one of the other cards too? On now to the box then. So what do we get inside this box? Well, let's start with the box. First of all, what a great size. Perfect size for this kind of game, I think. Components fit in there really well. There's no inlay, or if there was an inlay, I've long since lost it. But it's not too big, nice and sturdy, fits well in a bag for travel. Like I said, don't play it on a train, but you can play it once you've arrived where you're going. Inside, we'll start with the rulebook. The rulebook is a 4-page pamphlet, very simple to understand. Not many pictures, but the rules explain pretty much everything you need to know, which is great. Now, we've Ziploc bagged all our cards because you end up with 200 of these words, these code name words which make up the board. So we've put those in a Ziploc bag to keep them safe. Here they are. You also get the key cards, which of course the spy masters look at. These are used in any orientation. The colours outside show who goes first, and the black square is assigned to the assassin. I don't know if I mentioned that before. If I didn't, I'm mentioning it now. Anyway, key cards, lots of them, which means there's plenty of variation in this game. You can play it over and over again. Now, one of the things about this game is that you can take quite a long time in coming up with a good clue, or in fact in trying to link cards together. For that reason, they've given you an egg timer. This is an egg timer in case you haven't seen one before. I think it's about 2 minutes, or it might be 3 minutes. We don't tend to play with that. We just encourage each other to move as quickly as possible because we're like that. Now, the other thing you also get is a little deck of those cards. These are much thicker cardboard and feel nice and chunky. These are innocent bystander cards. These are your blue spy cards, and here's your red spy card, and in there somewhere is the assassin card as well. This is what you place on top of the cards on the board once they've been tapped and correctly identified. The very final thing you get is a little plastic stand for your key card. This is so it stays upright in its orientation facing the spy masters. That's what you get in the box. When it comes to theme, there's remarkably little for me to say. Actually, they worked really well together. The theme and the mechanics fitted like a glove and a hand. Ooh, code name. Did I make meaningful decisions in this game? Yes, I did. As the spy master, I was doing that every single time. Did I give them a simple clue with a single guess or 2 guesses? Or did I go for something a little more outlandish, which could be interpreted in many different ways, gaining me more spies in that round, but then potentially failing completely? Lots of thinking there, lots of meaningful decisions to be taken. In terms of paths to victory, there's only one. Unfortunately, this game is very simple. You just need to find those spies as quickly as possible. There aren't many ways of doing that other than clearly identifying them. So yeah, one way of winning. In terms of skill and luck, balanced really well, I think. If you're a new person to this game or if you're a seasoned pro, you both have a fighting chance of winning. What is interesting about this game is that who you play with really does dictate how well you're going to do in this game, I think. If you play with a group that you know well and you know how they think and the kind of relationships they could make with words, that may not be the same with someone that you've never played or never met with. So, for example, when I play with my family, we might say words that relate to the board, or the words on the board, in a different way than if I was playing with someone who was from outside of my family. That probably made sense, I hope. On to whether or not I was engaged in the game. Oh, I was absolutely engaged in this game. And in fact, this is one of those rare chances of really understanding how the game develops by watching your opponents, listening to what clues they're given. If you listen carefully, you can, or if you don't listen carefully, you will miss out on the fact that they may be relating to words that you want to avoid. One thing I don't think I mentioned in this game is the power of the assassin. If you choose the assassin word, you instantly lose. So it actually really, really pays dividends to pay attention every single second of this game. And then finally, iconography and clear text, legible text. Yeah, all the text was very easy to understand because it's a word game, and if it wasn't, there would be big trouble. In terms of iconography, truthfully, I think the cards could be square rather than rectangle. It would make more sense to me if they were squares rather than rectangles. And maybe if they were a little bit bigger and chunkier, it would make things that much easier. Putting them down on a board, they're never quite straight, and that OCD in me kicks in. Anyway, that's my 5 questions answered, and I think we did pretty well. So who would I play this game with, and what did I think of it in the end? I would play this with a whole variety of people, really. This is a great game for non-board gamers. Again, it's a great game for playing at holiday sort of seasons. So Christmas is a good time to play this game, I think. It's a good game to play after dinner as an after-dinner party game, a little extension beyond charades or charades, or whatever the hell it's called. I would also think that this is a good game. This is when we play it, when we have families visiting us, one family against another family. This is a good game for that, I think, because of the way the dynamic works within your own family. So I quite enjoy playing that game then. In terms of did I like the game? Yeah, I think evidently it's clear that I do like this game, and I do recommend it. It's a great game. I don't think it's particularly expensive. There are different variants out now, as I think I've mentioned before. I believe there's some licensed copies. I think Blizzard's got a version out. If you're a Warcraft or a Overwatch fan, then there's a version out there. There's also a kids version available too. Now, all that said and done, I hope you've enjoyed the video. I hope it's been useful to you. Let me know what you think in the comments below, as always. If you've enjoyed what you've seen, consider subscribing. Give me a thumbs up if you liked this particular video. For now, and until later though, folks, take care. Oh, take extra care. There's a virus going around, apparently.